ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರಗಳು. ಈಗಾಗಲೇ ರೇಷಿಯೋ ಅನಾಲಿಸಿಸ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ 2 ಭಾಗಗಳ ವಿಡಿಯೋ ಆಟಗಳನ್ನು ಗಮನಿಸಿದ್ದೀರಿ ಹಾಗೂ ಇವುಗಳನ್ನು ವೀಕ್ಷಿಸಿದ ಕೆಲವರಿಗಾದರೂ ಅವುಗಳ ಪ್ರಯೋಜನವಾಗಿದೆ ಎಂದು ಭಾವಿಸುತ್ತೇನೆ. ಆಲ್ರೆಡಿ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಅಬ್ಸರ್ವ್ಡ್ ರೇಷಿಯೋ ಅನಾಲಿಸಿಸ್ ಇನ್ 2 of my previous videos, where in the first part introduction to ratio analysis and in the second part first category of accounting ratios, that is liquidity ratios, and some related simple problems were elaborated. I hope they are helpful to some of you in your learning. This is Rajesh S. Rajigatta welcoming you back to my third session on ratio analysis, and this time we are going to learn second broad category of accounting ratios, that is profitability ratios. If necessary, please have with you a notebook, a pen and a calculator so that you can write down and have a hands-on working experience of problems. According to famous economist J.M. Keynes, profit is the engine that drives the business enterprise. It is very essential because it pulls the business forward. Profit acts as igniting power. Without profits, entrepreneurs lose their hope and stay back from investing in business houses, and therefore, in turn, the society suffers. Profit is the reward to business enterprises for investing and taking calculated risks. As accounting students or business students, we know that in accounting terminology, profit is the difference between total revenues earned and total expenses incurred for earning such revenues. If the difference is negative, then it is called loss. ಒಂದು ಪರಿಕಲ್ಪನೆ ಅಥವಾ ಸೈದ್ಧಾಂತಿಕವಾಗಿ ಹೇಳುವುದಾದರೆ, ಲಾಭ ಎಂಬುದು ಒಂದು ಉದ್ಯಮ ಸಂಸ್ಥೆಯ ಹೂಡಿಕೆಗಳಿಗೆ ಮತ್ತು ಪೂರ್ವಭಾವಿಯಾಗಿ ಊಹಿಸಿದ ಹಣಕಾಸಿನ ಸಂಭವನೀಯ ಅಪಾಯಗಳನ್ನು ತೆಗೆದುಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದಕ್ಕೆ ಸಿಗುವ ಪ್ರತಿಫಲ ಎಂಬುದಾಗಿ ಹೇಳಬಹುದು. ವಾಣಿಜ್ಯ ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿಗಳಾಗಿ ಲೆಕ್ಕಶಾಸ್ತ್ರಕ್ಕನುಗುಣವಾಗಿ ಸಮೀಕರಣದ ರೂಪದಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳುವುದಾದರೆ, ಲಾಭ ಎಂಬುದು ಒಂದು ವ್ಯವಹಾರ ಸಂಸ್ಥೆಯ ಒಟ್ಟು ವರಮಾನಗಳು ಮತ್ತು ಆ ವರಮಾನಗಳನ್ನು ಗಳಿಸಲು ಖರ್ಚು ಮಾಡಿದ ವೆಚ್ಚಗಳ ನಡುವಿನ ವ್ಯತ್ಯಾಸ ಎಂದು ಹೇಳಬಹುದು. Profits mean differently to different stakeholders. They are the tests of efficiency and measure of control to the management. Management can check whether things are going according to plans profitably. A measure of worth on owners' investment, whether owners are getting back their returns on their investment. The margin of safety to creditors, it acts as a cushion to creditors as a safety measure. Then a source of benefits to employees in the form of salary hikes, bonus, perquisites, allowances, etc. A basis of policy making to the government in the form of framing industrial policies, tax policies, giving or offering packages, etc. An index of economic progress of the country, a hint to the customers to demand for better quality products and services, and an easily available source of capital to an enterprise. Profits can be retained and reused in the business for earning more and develop. Profit is an absolute measure of earning capacity. It is measured in terms of money, whereas profitability is the relative measure of profit earning capacity of a firm. It is measured in terms of relativity to sales, capital, investments, assets, etc. Profitability is the net result of numerous policies and decisions of the management. It refers to the efficiency with which the operations of a business are carried out. ಲಾಭ ಎಂಬುದು ಪರಿಮಾಣಾತ್ಮಕವಾಗಿ ಹಣದ ರೂಪದಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳಬಹುದಾದ ಒಂದು ಪರಿಪೂರ್ಣ ಮಾನಕವಾದರೆ, ಲಾಭದಾಯಕತೆ ಅಥವಾ ಲಾಭ ಗಳಿಸುವ ಸಾಮರ್ಥ್ಯ, ಪ್ರಾಫಿಟಬಿಲಿಟಿ ಎಂಬುದು ಒಂದು ಸಂಸ್ಥೆಯ ಗಳಿಸುವ ಸಾಮರ್ಥ್ಯದ ಸಾಪೇಕ್ಷ ಅಳತೆಯಾಗಿರುತ್ತದೆ. ಲಾಭವನ್ನು ನಾವು ಮಾರಾಟದ ವ್ಯವಹಾರಗಳಿಗೆ, ಹೂಡಿಕೆಗಳಿಗೆ, ಬಂಡವಾಳಗಳಿಗೆ ಅಥವಾ ಸಂಪನ್ಮೂಲಗಳಿಗೆ ಹೋಲಿಕೆ ಮಾಡಿ ತಿಳಿದುಕೊಳ್ಳುತ್ತೇವೆ. Profitability ratios are the accounting ratios calculated to assess the adequacy of the profits earned by the company and also to estimate the trend of the profitability over a period of time. These are of great importance to all stakeholders in a business organization, as these ratios provide financial metrics that are used to assess a business concern's ability to generate profits in relation to its sales, operating costs, various assets, shareholders' equity, total capital employed, etc. ಲಾಭದಾಯಕತೆ ಅನುಪಾತಗಳನ್ನು ಒಂದು ಸಂಸ್ಥೆಯ ವಹಿವಾಟುಗಳಿಂದ ಅಥವಾ ಮಾರಾಟದಿಂದುಂಟಾದ ಲಾಭದ ಕೊಡುಗೆ, ಕಾರ್ಯಚಟುವಟಿಕೆಗಳ ಖರ್ಚುಗಳ ಲಾಭದ ಕೊಡುಗೆ, ಸಂಸ್ಥೆಯ ಆಸ್ತಿಗಳ ಲಾಭದ ಕೊಡುಗೆ, ಬಂಡವಾಳದ ಮೇಲೆ ಲಾಭದ ಕೊಡುಗೆ, ಉದ್ಯಮಿ ತೆಗೆದುಕೊಂಡ ಕಷ್ಟಗಳಿಗೆ ಕೊಡುಗೆಗಳನ್ನು ಅಳೆಯಲು ಕಂಡುಹಿಡಿಯುತ್ತಾರೆ. ಇವುಗಳನ್ನು ಭವಿಷ್ಯತ್ತಿನ ಲಾಭದಾಯಕತೆಯ ದಿಕ್ಸೂಚಿಗಳಾಗಿಯೂ ಬಳಸಿಕೊಳ್ಳಲಾಗಿದೆ. Let us straight away focus on important profitability ratios. Important profitability ratios include gross profit ratio, operating ratio or operating cost ratio, operating profit ratio, net profit ratio, operating expenses ratio, return on investment, return on net worth, return on equity shareholders funds, return on assets, etc. ನಾನು ಇವುಗಳನ್ನು ಇಂಗ್ಲಿಷ್ ಭಾಷೆಯಲ್ಲಿಯೇ ಬಳಕೆ ಮಾಡುತ್ತಾ ನಿಮಗೆ ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ವಿವರಣೆಯನ್ನು ನೀಡ್ತೇನೆ. ಯಾಕಂದರೆ ಕನ್ನಡಕ್ಕೆ ತರ್ಜುಮೆ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಂಡು ಹೋದರೆ ನಮಗೆ ಅರ್ಥವಾಗುವುದಿಲ್ಲ ಅಥವಾ ರೂಢಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಇಲ್ಲದೆ ಪದಗಳು ಬಳಸಿದಾಗ ಕನ್ಫ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅನ್ನೋ ಒಂದು ಅಭಿಪ್ರಾಯದಲ್ಲಿ. ಪ್ರಾಫಿಟಬಿಲಿಟಿ ರೇಷಿಯೋಸ್ ಆರ್ ಜನರಲಿ ರೆಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟೆಡ್ ಇನ್ ಪರ್ಸೆಂಟೇಜಸ್. ಈ ಎಲ್ಲ ಲಾಭದಾಯಕತೆಯ ಅನುಪಾತಗಳನ್ನು ನಾವು ಶೇಕಡಾವಾರು ಆಗಿ ಕಂಡುಹಿಡಿಯುತ್ತೇವೆ. ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಂದು ರೇಷಿಯೋವನ್ನು 100ರಿಂದ ಗುಣಿಸಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತದೆ. Let us straight away start with the first profitability ratio, that is gross profit ratio. Gross profit ratio establishes the quantitative relationship between gross profit and net sales in percentage form. ಒಟ್ಟು ಲಾಭ ಅನುಪಾತವು ಒಟ್ಟು ಲಾಭಗಳು ಮತ್ತು ನಿವ್ವಳ ಮಾರಾಟ ಮೌಲ್ಯಗಳ ನಡುವಿನ ಶೇಕಡಾವಾರು ಪರಿಮಾಣಾತ್ಮಕ ಸಂಬಂಧವನ್ನು ಏರ್ಪಡಿಸುತ್ತದೆ. The ratio is calculated as gross profit ratio equals to gross profit divided by net sales into 100. Revenue from operations can be substituted for net sales because of Companies Act of 2013 new formats states revenue from operations instead of net sales, where gross profit equals to net sales minus cost of goods sold. If gross profit is available in trading account directly, then the amount of gross profit can be taken directly into the formula. If not, if trading account is not given, then net sales, cost of goods sold and other information is given, then gross profit can be computed by establishing relationship between net sales and cost of goods sold. Another way of finding gross profit is revenue from operations minus cost of revenue from operations. Net sales here means total sales minus sales returns, if any. If sales returns are given in the problem, that should be deducted from total sales. Total sales here means cash sales plus credit sales. Cost of goods sold equals to opening inventory or opening stock plus net total purchases, that is total purchases minus purchase returns plus direct expenses minus closing stock or closing inventory. Direct expenses are wages plus manufacturing expenses plus octroi plus carriage inwards, etc. Any expenses incurred directly for trading activities or manufacturing activities have to be included in direct expenses. Gross profit is the net result of trading activities or manufacturing and selling activities. Gross profit ratio measures the efficiency of the firm's trading activities. Under normal circumstances, the gross profit ratio should remain unchanged over a period of time, irrespective of the level of production and sales, because cost of goods sold varies directly with sales in a normal course of operation. The gross profit margin will change if there are price variations, costs variations, change in product mix, under or overvaluation of stocks, etc. Cost of goods sold ratio as a complement ratio to gross profit ratio is calculated as under cost of goods sold ratio equals to 100 minus gross profit ratio. If we add cost of goods sold and gross profit, it will be equal to net sales. Cost of goods sold ratio can also be computed by establishing relationship between cost of goods sold and net sales expressed as a percentage. That is cost of goods sold divided by net sales into 100. The second profitability ratio is operating ratio or operating cost ratio. It establishes the quantitative relationship between operating costs and net sales. It is calculated by using the formula operating ratio equals to operating costs divided by net sales or revenue from operations into 100, where operating costs include cost of goods sold and operating expenses. How cost of goods sold are computed, we have already learnt. Operating expenses here include office and administration expenses, selling expenses, and distribution expenses. They do not include interest expense and tax expense as they are financial expenses. The operating ratio indicates the overall operational efficiency of the organization without considering financial and legal commitments like interest and tax expenses. As far as possible, operating ratio should be kept low. The third profitability ratio is operating profit ratio. It measures the quantitative relationship between operating profit and net sales expressed as a percentage. This ratio determines the operational efficiency of the firm. Please note that many students will get confused with operating profit ratio and operating ratio. Operating ratio is operating cost ratio. Operating profit ratio is related to profit earning. That is, operating profit is net sales minus operating costs. Therefore, be careful while computing operating ratio and operating profit ratio. The operating profit ratio is expressed as operating profit divided by net sales into 100. Operating profit refers to the profit generated by the firm from its normal operational activities, that is, buying and selling activities or manufacturing and selling activities. Operating profit means or equals to profit before deducting interest and tax, or operating profit equals to gross profit minus operating expenses. I think you know about operating expenses. Operating expenses include selling and distribution expenses, office and administration expenses, etc. Operating profit may also be computed by indirectly as net profit after taxes plus non-operating expenses minus non-operating incomes. From the net profit available in the profit and loss account, add back non-operating expenses if they have already been deducted, and deduct non-operating incomes if they are already added into profit and loss account. More the operating profit ratio, better is the operational efficiency of the business unit. The following table gives some examples of non-operating expenses and non-operating incomes. The fourth and most important profitability ratio is net profit ratio. It establishes the quantitative relationship between net profit after tax and net sales. It is calculated by using the formula net profit ratio equals to net profit after tax divided by net sales or revenue from operations into 100. Here net profit means operating profit minus non-operating expenses plus non-operating incomes. If net profit is available in profit and loss account, then consider that net profit and substitute into the formula and find out net profit ratio. If not given, information about operating profit, gross profit, sales, etc., non-operating expenses, non-operating incomes are given, then use this expression, equation to find out net profit. Another way of finding net profit is gross profit minus operating expenses minus non-operating expenses minus taxes, if any. If any of these information are not given or not available and not able to find out indirectly, then on the basis of given information you can find out net profit. The net profit ratio measures the overall efficiency of the firm in generating net operational profit over and above the total cost of operations. The net profit is the residual profit available to the owners. Therefore, a higher net profit ratio indicates better returns to owners as well as a better sign to all stakeholders. Next profitability ratio is operating expenses ratios. Operating expenses ratios serve as supplements to operating costs ratio. Operating cost ratioಗೆ ಇದು ಪೂರಕವಾಗಿ operating expenses ratios ಅನ್ನು ಕಂಡುಹಿಡಿಯಲಾಗುತ್ತೆ. These ratios establish quantitative relationships between different expenses to net sales. ವಿವಿಧ ರೀತಿಯ ಕಾರ್ಯಚಟುವಟಿಕೆಗಳ ಖರ್ಚುಗಳು ಮತ್ತು ನಿವ್ವಳ ಮಾರಾಟಗಳ ನಡುವಿನ ಸಂಬಂಧವನ್ನು ಏರ್ಪಡಿಸುತ್ತೆ. Operating expenses ratios are very much useful in controlling operating costs. They serve as standards as to where the costs deviations are occurring and the measures to be taken to correct them. ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಕಾರ್ಯಚಟುವಟಿಕೆಗಳ ವೆಚ್ಚಗಳು ಹೆಚ್ಚಾಗುತ್ತಿವೆ ಎಂಬುದನ್ನು ನಿಯಂತ್ರಿಸಲು ಈ ಒಂದು ರೇಷಿಯೋಸ್ ಸಹಕಾರಿಯಾಗುತ್ತೆ. ಆಪರೇಟಿಂಗ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆನ್ಸಸ್ ರೇಷಿಯೋಸ್ ಕಂಪ್ರೈಸಸ್ direct material cost ratio equals to direct material cost divided by net sales into 100. ಇದು ಒಟ್ಟಾರೆ ಮಾರಾಟಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ನೇರ ಕಚ್ಚಾ ಪದಾರ್ಥಗಳ ವೆಚ್ಚ ಎಷ್ಟಿದೆ, ಯಾವ ಶೇಕಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಇದೆ ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನು ಹೇಳುತ್ತೆ. ಎರಡನೆಯದು ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಲೇಬರ್ ಕಾಸ್ಟ್ ರೇಷಿಯೋ. ಇಟ್ ಎಸ್ಟಾಬ್ಲಿಷಸ್ ದ ರಿಲೇಷನ್ಶಿಪ್ ಬಿಟ್ವೀನ್ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಲೇಬರ್ ಕಾಸ್ಟ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ನೆಟ್ ಸೇಲ್ಸ್ and expressed in a percentage. That is, direct labor cost ratio equals to direct labor cost divided by net sales into 100. Other operating expenses ratios include factory expenses ratio, which is given as factory expenses divided by revenue from operations or net sales into 100. Next one is administrative expenses ratio. It establishes the relationship between administrative expenses and net sales expressed in a percentage. Selling and distribution expenses ratio equals to selling and distribution expenses divided by net sales into 100. You can observe here any expense ratio will be related to net sales to find out such ratio as a percentage of net sales. Let us work out some simple problems on the above profitability ratios. Because these profitability ratios are based on sales, there are some other profitability ratios based on capital or investment. Those will be discussed later. Problem: gross profit rupees 60,000, net profit rupees 35,000, total sales rupees 2,05,000, sales returns rupees 5,000. Compute gross profit ratio and net profit ratio. Solution: we know that gross profit ratio equals to gross profit divided by net sales into 100. In this case, net sales is not given directly, but total sales and sales returns are given. Therefore, net sales equals to total sales minus sales returns. Substitute the values. 2,05,000 minus 5,000 equals to rupees 2 lakhs is net sales. Now substitute gross profit and net sales into gross profit ratio. That is rupees 60,000 divided by rupees 2 lakhs
into 100, it works out to 30%. It is already cleared that profitability ratios are measured in terms of percentage. Next, net profit ratio, net profit divided by net sales into 100. We know net profit as given in the problem rupees 35,000 and net sales has been computed for gross profit ratio. Substitute those two values into the net profit ratio. Rupees 35,000 divided by rupees 2 lakhs into 100, it works out to 17.5%.
Worked problem number 2. Given cash sales rupees 2,05,000, credit sales rupees 1,05,000, sales returns rupees 10,000, opening stock rupees 35,000, closing stock rupees 40,000, purchases rupees 1,55,000, direct expenses rupees 25,000. Compute gross profit ratio. So many items are given and we are asked to calculate gross profit ratio. We know gross profit ratio equals to gross profit divided by net sales into 100. But nowhere gross profit or net sales is given. Therefore, we have to work out gross profit and net sales. Let us try. Gross profit is given as net sales minus cost of goods sold. But in the given problem, we don't know what is the amount of net sales, what is the amount of cost of goods sold. Therefore, we have to find out both of them. Net sales, we know that total sales minus sales returns. But we don't know what is the amount of total sales. Therefore, total sales equals to cash sales plus credit sales. These two information is given in the problem. Therefore, substitute both of them. 2,05,000 plus 1,05,000. It works out to rupees 3,10,000. We found out total sales, but net sales we don't know. The net sales is required for calculation of gross profit ratio. Therefore, substitute 3,10,000 under total sales. Sales returns is given in the problem to rupees 10,000. Subtract rupees 10,000 from 3,10,000. Net sales amount to 3 lakhs. Then find out cost of goods sold. Cost of goods sold is given as opening inventory or opening stock plus net total purchases plus direct expenses minus closing stock or closing inventory. Here direct expenses are given, purchases are given, opening stock are given, then closing stock is also given. Substitute all the values. Opening stock rupees 35,000, net total purchases 1,55,000 plus direct expenses 25,000 minus closing stock 40,000. Simplifying, we get rupees 1,75,000 as cost of goods sold. Now we have net sales and cost of goods sold. It is easy to find out gross profit ratio. Substitute the values above. Rupees 3 lakh minus rupees 1,75,000. It gives gross profit as 1,25,000. Now it is easy to compute gross profit ratio. Write the gross profit ratio formula. Gross profit ratio divided by net sales into 100. Substitute the values of gross profit and net sales which are given in bold. Then 1,25,000 divided by 3 lakhs into 100. It works out to 41.67%. Problem number 3. It requires all the ratios which have already been discussed to be computed. Net sales rupees 2,50,000. Cost of goods sold rupees 1,75,000. Selling expenses rupees 7,000. Administrative expenses rupees 6,000. Loss on sale of buildings rupees 6,000. Interest expense rupees 3,000 and income tax rupees 3,000. Calculate gross profit ratio, net profit ratio, operating ratio, operating profit ratio, operating expenses ratio. Here
different ratios have to be computed. Therefore, it requires more calculations. Instead of calculating for each ratio, let us first prepare the operating statement for the above particulars. Operating statement, you must know and remember these things. Net sales rupees 2,50,000 given in the problem. From that, you have to deduct cost of goods sold to find out gross profit. Cost of goods sold is given as 1,75,000. Deducting 1,75,000 from 2,50,000, it gives gross profit 75,000. From gross profit, we have to deduct operating expenses. In this problem, two types of operating expenses are given. Therefore, they have been taken in inner column. Administrative expenses 6,000, selling expenses 7,000. Total of these two amounts to rupees 13,000. Therefore, operating expenses amounts to rupees 13,000. Subtract this 13,000 from gross profit 75,000. The residual value 62,000 is operating profit. So observe, from net sales we have to deduct cost of goods sold to get gross profit. From gross profit we have to subtract operating expenses to find out operating profit. Then deduct financial expenses. In the problem it is given interest 3,000 rupees. Deduct this amount from 62,000, you will get 59,000. And loss on sale of buildings is also given. It is non-operating expense. Therefore, it should be deducted to find out profit after tax, net profit after tax. So profit before tax amounts to 53,000. From this, income tax has to be deducted to get net profit after tax, that is rupees 50,000. Remember, preparation of operating statement is not compulsory, but preparation of operating statement simplifies the calculations. While calculating or while working out respective ratios, you can show working notes related to that ratio also. ಆಪ್ರೇಟಿಂಗ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡುವಂಥದ್ದು ಕಂಪಲ್ಸರಿ ಏನಲ್ಲ. ಅದನ್ನು ನೀವು ಯಾವ್ಯಾವ ರೇಷಿಯೋಗಳನ್ನು ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಕುಲೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿರ್ತೀರೋ ಆ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ವರ್ಕಿಂಗ್ ನೋಟ್ಗಳಾಗೂ ಸಹ ನೀವು ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಕುಲೇಷನ್ಸನ್ನು ತೋರಿಸ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗ್ಬೋದು. ಲೆಟ್ ಅಸ್ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ವಿತ್ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ರೇಷಿಯೋ, ಗ್ರಾಸ್ ಪ್ರಾಫಿಟ್ ರೇಷಿಯೋ, which is given as gross profit divided by net sales into 100. Substitute the values of gross profit and net sales. Rupees 75,000 divided by rupees 2,50,000 into 100, it amounts to 30%. Next one is net profit ratio. It is given as net profit divided by net sales into 100. Net profit after tax is implied. If after tax information is not given and you cannot find out that information, you can take net profit as given in the problem. So rupees 50,000 divided by 2,50,000 into 100 equals to 20% is net profit ratio. Then operating ratio or operating cost ratio. It is given as operating cost divided by net sales into 100. Operating cost is not given and it is not calculated in operating statement also. Therefore, we require working. We know that operating cost equals to cost of goods sold plus operating expenses. You should remember all these things while solving ratio analysis problems. Calculations, relationships, etc. Must be remembered, and you should have thorough knowledge of operating statement, profit and loss account, trading account, etc. to find out the missing values. Operating cost works out to cost of goods sold 1,75,000 plus total operating expenses 13,000 equals to 1,88,000. Substitute these values into the operating ratio. Operating cost 1,88,000 divided by net sales 2,50,000 into 100. It works out to 75.2%. Next ratio is operating profit ratio. It is given as operating profit divided by net sales into 100. Operating ratio and operating profit ratio are different. Let us substitute the values of operating profit and net sales into the formula and find out the ratio. It comes to 24.8% of sales. Next one is operating expenses ratio. Operating expenses divided by net sales into 100. Operating expenses here means total operating expenses. It is already computed in the statement. Total operating expenses amounts to 13,000. That is operating expenses equals to administrative expenses plus selling expenses. Rupees 6,000 plus rupees 7,000 equals to 13,000. Substitute the values. Rupees 13,000 divided by 2,50,000 into 100. It is 5.2%. This much is asked in the problem, but I am proceeding further to give clarification about administrative expenses ratio and selling expenses ratio. If in the problem administrative expenses ratio, selling expenses ratio or other operating expense ratios are asked for computation individually, then we can work out such ratios like this. Administrative expenses ratio equals to administrative expenses divided by net sales into 100. Administrative expenses are rupees 6,000, sales are rupees 2,50,000 into 100. The ratio is 2.4%. Selling expenses ratio, selling expenses divided by net sales into 100. Rupees 7,000 divided by rupees 2,50,000 into 100, 2.8%. ಇವೆರಡೂ ರೇಷಿಯೋಗಳನ್ನು ಈಗ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರುವಂತಹ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ನಂಬರ್ 3ಯಲ್ಲಿ ಕೇಳಿಲ್ಲ. ಅಕಸ್ಮಾತ್ ಈ ರೀತಿ ಏನಾದರೂ ನಿಮಗೆ ಇಂಡಿವಿಜುವಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆನ್ಸಸ್ ರೇಷಿಯೋನ ಕಂಡುಹಿಡಿಯಿರಿ ಎಂದಾಗ ಈ ರೀತಿಯಾಗಿ ಆ ರೇಷಿಯೋಗಳನ್ನು ಕಂಡುಹಿಡಿಯಬಹುದು.
The following profitability ratios are based on capital or investment, out of which first one is return on investment or return on capital employed. It establishes the relationship between operating profits and total capital employed. The ratio is expressed as follows: return on investment or return on capital employed equals to operating profit divided by capital employed into 100. Operating profit is also termed as profit before interest and tax or earnings before interest and tax. Capital employed, if not given directly, and if balance sheet is given, or information about fixed assets, current assets, share capital, etc. are given, can be computed in two ways: from asset side point of view and from liabilities side point of view. From asset side point of view, capital employed can be computed as net fixed assets plus net working capital. We know what is net working capital, therefore this relationship can be expanded as capital employed equals to net fixed assets plus net working capital, means current assets minus current liabilities. Current liabilities will be deducted from current assets and the net result, that is net working capital, will be added to net fixed assets to find out capital employed. If these informations are not given, then we can also try to find out capital employed from liability side point of view. That is, capital employed equals to equity share capital plus preference share capital plus reserves and surplus plus long term loans like debentures, etc. Out of these sum, we have to subtract fictitious assets like preliminary expenses, etc. and non-operating assets. Return on investment is considered as an important ratio to test management's overall efficiency and overall effectiveness in utilizing capital resources. The ratio is considered as the best measure for assessing the overall profitability of the concern. ಪೂರ್ಣ ಪ್ರಮಾಣದ ಲಾಭದಾಯಕತೆಯನ್ನು ಅಳೆಯೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಈ ಒಂದು ರೇಷಿಯೋವನ್ನು ಬಳಸಲಾಗುತ್ತೆ. ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಯೂಸ್ಫುಲ್
in inter-firm comparison also. While calculating ROI, the following points may be kept in mind. It is advised to take fixed assets after deducting depreciation. Net fixed assets have to be taken for calculation of capital employed. Intangible assets like goodwill, patent rights, trademarks, etc. are considered for calculating capital employed and added into fixed assets only when these intangible assets have potential sale value. If these assets are held by the business for writing off in the near future, these assets, that is intangible assets, should not be considered for calculating ROI. Then third one is non-trading or non-business investments should be excluded from assets. Non-trading or non-business investments assets ನ ಮೀನಿಂಗಿನಿಂದ ತೆಗೆದು ಹಾಕಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ. Trade debtors should be taken after deducting bad debts and provision for bad debts. Net debtors should be taken to compute capital employed.
Next ratio is return on net worth ratio. It is also called return on shareholders' funds or return on proprietors' funds. This ratio determines the productivity of shareholders' funds. How much profits have been earned on shareholders' funds will be computed by using this ratio. The ratio is expressed as follows: return on shareholders' funds or return on net worth or return on proprietors' funds equals to net profit, that is net profit after tax divided by shareholders' funds, or net profit divided by proprietors' funds, or net profit divided by net worth into 100, where net worth or shareholders' funds or proprietors' funds equals to equity share capital plus preference share capital plus reserves and surplus. Out of the sum, we have to deduct fictitious assets and non-business assets. Observe, long-term liabilities like debenture, capital, long-term loans, etc. are not included in shareholders' funds. It is purely shareholders' funds. Long-term loans, outsiders' funds should not be included into net worth.
While return on investment or return on capital employed measures the return on total capital employed, and the return on shareholders' funds or return on proprietors' funds measures the return available to all the shareholders, including preference shareholders, this ratio, return on equity shareholders' funds, measures the profitability of the firm from the point of view of real owners, that is equity shareholders only. This ratio establishes quantitative relationship between profits available to equity shareholders after paying interest on debentures or long-term loans, paying tax and preference dividend to preference shareholders and equity shareholders funds. That is, this ratio establishes the relationship between profits available to equity shareholders and equity shareholders funds. That means return on equity shareholders funds equals to net profit after interest, tax and preference dividend divided by equity shareholders funds multiplied by 100, where equity shareholders funds include equity share capital, reserves and surplus. Out of these two items, some of these two items we have to deduct fictitious assets and non-business assets. Next profitability ratio is return on assets. Return on assets ratio measures the profitability of the firm in relation to various types of assets employed by the firm. It is calculated to assess the profitability of every rupee of resources employed in the business. These ratios measures the contribution of each type of assets towards profitability of the concern. Following variants of return on assets are available. Depending upon the nature of assets, we can have different types of assets return ratio. Return on total assets is given as net profit, that is net profit after tax divided by total assets into 100. Return on tangible assets equals to net profit after tax divided by net tangible assets. Net means after deducting depreciation into 100. Return on fixed assets is given as net profit again after tax divided by net fixed assets into 100. The following simple problem has been worked out here to make you understand these ratios. Calculate first one return on capital employed or ROCE, second one return on net worth, third one return on equity shareholders funds. The following amounts are given: 10% preference share capital rupees 10 lakhs, equity share capital of rupees 10 each rupees 20 lakhs, 7% debenture capital rupees 10 lakhs, reserves and surplus rupees 45 lakhs, net profit before tax rupees 18 lakhs, and tax rate is 30%. So here you are asked to calculate return on capital employed or return on investment, return on net worth or return on proprietors funds or return on shareholders funds, total shareholders funds, and return on equity shareholders funds. Various information is given. We have to reshuffle them to suit our requirements. Let us work out, let us solve the given ratios. First one is ROI or ROCE equals to operating profit or profit before interest and tax divided by capital employed into 100. Here operating profit is not given directly. Net profit before tax and tax rate and interest we can find out by taking into consideration 7% debenture capital. Capital employed is also not given directly. We have to compute those two items. We have to show them in working. Let us work out in the problem. Net profit before tax is given. Observe, it is before tax. It means interest on debentures have already been deducted from profits and tax is not deducted. For return on capital employed ratio, profit means operating profit or profit before interest and tax. Therefore, interest of rupees 70,000. Interest will be calculated on long-term loans or debentures. Keep in mind. So here 10 lakhs rupees debentures are given, and in the name of debentures it is given 7%. That means debentures, on debentures we have to pay 7% interest annually. Therefore, it works out to 7% on 10 lakhs works out to rupees 70,000. This 70,000 has to be added back to rupees 18 lakhs profits shown in the problem. Thus, earnings before interest and tax equals to rupees 18 lakhs as given in the problem. It is net profit before tax 18 lakhs plus 70,000 interest is added back. It will be 18 lakh 70,000. Earnings before interest and tax or profit before interest and tax or operating profit equals to 18 lakh 70,000. Then capital employed, we know the relationship. Capital employed is given as equity share capital plus preference share capital plus reserves and surplus plus long-term loans out of these fictitious assets and non-operating assets have to be subtracted. But in the problem, fictitious assets and non-operating assets are not given, but other items are given. Equity share capital is given, preference share capital is given, reserves and surplus is given, long-term loans is also given in the form of debentures. So substitute these values. 20 lakhs is equity share capital, preference share capital is rupees 10 lakhs, reserves and surplus rupees 45 lakhs, plus long-term loans, that is 7% debentures 10 lakhs. Adding them up, we get capital employed rupees 85 lakhs. Now substitute the values of operating profit and capital employed into the formula of ROI, that is 18,70,000 divided by 85 lakhs into 100, it works out to 22%. Next ratio is return on net worth. It is given as net profit after tax divided by shareholders funds into 100. Net profit after tax equals to net profit before tax minus tax. Tax is always computed on profits. Therefore, net profit before tax is given as 18 lakhs minus tax rate is given 30%, and it should be computed on profits, that is 18 lakhs. 30% of 18 lakhs works out to rupees 5,40,000. Subtracting it from 18 lakh rupees, we get rupees 12,60,000 as net profit after tax. Net worth or shareholders funds is given as equity share capital plus preference share capital plus reserves and surplus minus fictitious assets minus non-business assets. Fictitious assets and non-business assets are not given in the problem. Therefore, equity share capital rupees 20 lakhs plus preference share capital rupees 10 lakhs plus reserves and surplus rupees 45 lakhs are added here to get rupees 75 lakhs as net worth or shareholders funds. So we got net profit after tax and net worth. Therefore, substituting the values into the formula, the ratio works out to 16.8%. Next ratio is return on equity shareholders funds. It is given as net profit after tax minus preference dividend, or it can also be taken as earnings available to equity shareholders divided by equity shareholders funds into 100. Equity shareholders funds equals to equity share capital plus reserves and surplus minus fictitious assets and minus non-business assets. As in this case, fictitious assets and non-business assets are not given, we have considered only equity share capital and reserves and surplus, that is 20 lakhs plus rupees 45 lakhs equals to 65 lakhs. Then compute preference dividend. Preference dividend is computed on the capital, total capital of preference share capital. The rate of dividend will be there attached to the name of the preference capital. In this case, it is given 10% of preference capital, rupees 10 lakhs. Therefore, 10% of dividends have to be paid on rupees 10 lakhs, and the dividends works out to rupees 1 lakh. 10% of 10 lakhs equals to 1 lakh. ಪ್ರಿಫರೆನ್ಸ್ ಡಿವಿಡೆಂಡ್ಗಳನ್ನು ಕಂಡುಹಿಡಿಯುವಾಗ ಪ್ರಿಫರೆನ್ಸ್ ಶೇರ್ ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲ್ನ ಜೊತೆಯಲ್ಲಿನೇ ಅದರ ಮೇಲೆ ಕೊಡಬೇಕಾದಂತಹ ಡಿವಿಡೆಂಡ್ ರೇಟನ್ನು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರ್ತಾರೆ. ಈ ಒಂದು ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮಲ್ಲಿ 10% ಪ್ರಿಫರೆನ್ಸ್ ಶೇರ್ ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಆ 10% ಅನ್ನೋದು ಆ ಒಂದು ಪ್ರಿಫರೆನ್ಸ್ ಶೇರ್ ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲ್ನ ಮೇಲೆ ಕೊಡಬೇಕಾಗಿರುವಂತಹ ಲಾಭಾಂಶದ ಭಾಗ. ಆದ್ದರಿಂದಾಗಿ 10% 10 ಲಕ್ಷಗಳ ಮೇಲೆ 1 ಲಕ್ಷವಾಗುತ್ತದೆ. Return on equity shareholders funds equals to rupees 12,60,000, that is profit after tax minus preference dividend is rupees 1 lakh divided by shareholders funds, that is equity shareholders funds 65,000 into 100. It works out to 17.846%.